Does this historic home look familiar? It should, but the last time we were here, it looked very different, and you will not believe what it looks like now on the inside. That was 3 years ago, when this house was falling apart, and frankly, so was I. 3 years ago on Thanksgiving was when my dad committed suicide, and I needed to not be in Wilmington, North Carolina. I needed to not be in work. I needed a very large distraction. If you followed my videos for any amount of time, you know that my favorite thing in the whole wide world is to find old houses, track down their story, and see if I can get inside. I could not sleep at night, and I was up late just scrolling through real estate ads until my thumb stopped on this. When I looked at the photos of the inside of this house looked as broken as I felt. Called the listing agent, she gave me the code to the front door, and I spent an entire day in here, running around, taking videos, taking photos, staring at all the ornate details, just using my imagination to try to envision what it looked like in its original glory, praying very hard that I would not fall through a floorboard, praying even harder that small demonic possessed little dolls do not actually live in closets. And at the end of the day, it was so cold that day, and I remember the sun was streaming through the windows in the back, and I could barely feel my hands anymore. And I paused at the base of that big grand staircase and just had this moment of silence with the house to reflect on how hard this world can be, not just for people, but also for houses, and to give the house some thanks for the reprieve it had given me that day. And on my way out of town, I stopped at the library, and they were so wonderful to me. They had a whole file about this house and the history, and they gave me a photo of the original owner. Went home, edited together a video, put that video on YouTube. It gets shared all over the place. And a couple days later, I get an email from a woman named Rebecca in Colorado. And she said she's interested in buying it. And I just kind of laugh like, oh yeah. Because a lot of people want to restore an old home, but you really have to be cut from a certain kind of crazy cloth. So I jokingly ask her if she owns a bulldozer, send her to the listing agent, like never think anything else of it until yesterday. Because yesterday I got another email from Rebecca, and she said that she did in fact buy that old house. She did in fact restore it in its entirety. She turned it into a bed and breakfast, but ultimately decided that she's homesick for Colorado, so she's going to put it up for sale and head back home. Would I like to have one more reunion with the house? Now, Rebecca does not know the whole backstory of how I got to this house and why this house has so much meaning to me. And up until a few moments ago, neither did any of you. So we all have some history here at South William Street in Goldsboro, North Carolina. But let's start in 1896, courtesy of 2025.
I needed a change. I kind of hit that midlife, I need to do something with my life, and this is something I'd always wanted to do. So when I came in, it was, kind of rose-colored glasses. I could see it all.
It had bones, it had potential, and it was a house that was worth saving. Dr. George Kirby got out of the Civil War. He married a woman named Mary, and they built a house in Goldsboro, and it was this house, but they built it 4 blocks away. It was the grandest house in downtown Goldsboro. And then his son-in-law takes the house and moves it 4 blocks away to where it currently sits. And he tore down the house that was currently on this lot to reassemble this one. When you open the doors and you look through, and even under the mold and the mildew and the falling plaster, the grandeur of the entryway stairs was just, we could see it.
So it didn't scare me until we started taking the back wall apart and seeing how bad the water damage and the rot was. And
the roof damage from the second floor where the water crept down through the floors to the first floor, all the way to the foundation, settled the piers, disintegrating basically the back of the house. We had a structural engineer who gave us a report of everything else that needed to be done as well. And that was the first, oh my gosh moment, was that 15-page list of everything that was deficient in the house, including rotten floor joists, previous evidence of termite damage, plumbing, electrical. The list was too numerous to count.
There was just no way we were going to be able to finish this house and pay somebody to help us. So we did it all ourselves. That was actually getting to the fun part where you can finally see your vision in your head come together.
In a perfect world, the buyer would love the house for the sake of the house and also the history of the house and want to be in this space, in this house. And if that's the case, then that's fantastic. And if it's somebody who buys this house and wants to put up walls and turn it into a quadplex or some ridiculous thing like that, then we might have to come back and haunt them.
On behalf of the entire state of North Carolina, we thank Rebecca and Andy for preserving a piece of North Carolina's history, for creating a piece of art that somebody can live in, and for giving this home at least another century. Proof, right there, that all things, both people and homes, can be fully restored.